Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more exciting content like this. A sparkling crystal chandelier bathed the polished mahogany table in warm light at my mother's dining room, where my family had come together for our monthly gathering. I tugged at my plain black sweater, feeling out of place amid my relatives' designer clothes and glittering accessories. My older brother, David, was animatedly recounting his latest property deal, his gold Rolex catching the light as he gestured. Meanwhile, my sister, Michelle, proudly displayed her new Cartier bracelet, eagerly seeking admiration from anyone nearby. Dad raised his glass of prized 1995 Bordeaux, beaming with pride. Another triumphant quarter, he declared. The family enterprises are flourishing, our investments are yielding rich returns, and everyone's playing a vital role in our legacy. His gaze swept the table approvingly before settling on me with a hint of disapproval. Well, nearly everyone. I continued eating my salmon in silence, used to these subtle jabs that lingered like a faint haze. At 28, I was the family letdown, living in a modest downtown one-bedroom and working a job they deemed a dead end in financial consulting. My Honda Civic paled in comparison to their sleek Mercedes and BMWs. What they didn't realize was that my small firm was a discreet cover for something far grander and more intricate. Speaking of roles, Michelle chimed in, her tone laced with feigned concern as she leaned forward with a sly smile. Have you given serious thought to your long-term plans? You can't rely on the family trust payments forever, like some kind of lifelong charity case. David, slicing his steak with sharp precision, added, those monthly funds won't last indefinitely, especially when you're not adding anything substantial or showing any drive. The knife scraped against the fine china, underscoring his point. Mom delicately patted her lips with her monogrammed linen napkin, signaling the start of what I sensed was a rehearsed family ambush. Their exchanged glances confirmed this was no spontaneous chat. We've been talking about your situation as a family, she said in her authoritative tone, reserved for delivering ultimatums. And we've reached a unanimous decision about your future. The room grew still, save for the faint classical music and the soft clink of cutlery. Dad leaned forward, his face firm and fatherly. We're cutting you off entirely, he stated with finality. No more trust distributions, no more support. It's time you stand on your own and make something of yourself, like your siblings. Michelle's smile betrayed her satisfaction, though she masked it with concern. It's for your benefit, she said. You need a push to succeed like us. David nodded sagely. Time to face the real world and sink or swim. I carefully set down my fork and reached for my laptop bag, pulling out my MacBook Pro. My family watched, their confusion tinged with irritation, as I calmly opened it and logged into my private wealth management portal. What are you doing? Mom asked, her voice edged with annoyance. This is a serious discussion. Without a word, I turned the screen toward them. The dashboard revealed my personal net worth in bold, glowing figures. $487,623,940. Silence engulfed the room. Dad's wine glass halted midair, frozen. Michelle's jaw dropped, and David's forecovered mid-bite. I think I'll be just fine, I said evenly, closing the laptop with a gentle snap. Before anyone could respond, a firm knock echoed from the front door. Mom's housekeeper appeared, slightly rattled. Pardon, Mrs. Thompson, but a gentleman is here for Miss Sarah from Whitmore and Associates. He says it's urgent about trust matters. Perfect timing, I thought with quiet satisfaction. I nodded to the housekeeper. Please bring him in. A distinguished man in a flawless Armani suit entered, carrying a luxurious leather briefcase worth more than most monthly salaries. His silver hair was impeccably styled, exuding authority. Miss Thompson, he said with a slight bow. I apologize for interrupting your dinner, but urgent matters regarding the quarterly trust restructuring require your attention and signature. Dad's voice cut through, sharp with his usual commanding tone. Who are you exactly? The man extended an elegant business card. James Whitmore, Senior Managing Partner at Whitmore and Associates. We manage Miss Thompson's estate planning, trust administration, and wealth preservation. He opened his briefcase with precision, producing several thick, blue-bound legal documents. Sarah, The paperwork for transferring additional offshore assets to your primary control structure is ready for your review. Offshore assets? Mom whispered, barely audible. Whitmore glanced at the stunned faces around the table. I assumed you all knew Sarah has been the primary beneficiary and sole trustee of the Thompson Family Trust since her 25th birthday, as stipulated in the original documents. The silence stretched, broken only by the ticking of the grandfather clock. That's impossible, David said, his usual confidence faltering. Dad controls the trust. He makes all financial decisions. Whitmore adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and retrieved a thick folder. That's incorrect, Mr. Thompson. Your grandfather's will was explicit and legally binding. Upon Sarah's 25th birthday, full control of the trust, including all real estate, investments, businesses, and liquid assets, transferred to her as the designated trustee. I watched their faces as the truth sank in, slow and inevitable. The monthly distributions you all rely on, I said. Every payment comes from my trust. Michelle's voice cracked. This is absurd. We'd know about something this significant. Whitmore produced another document. Here's a certified copy of the 1987 will, filed with the probate court. Section 12, subsection A, clearly states the youngest grandchild inherits full control at 25, with discretion to support family members. Dad snatched the document, his hands trembling as he read, his face growing paler. This can't be legal, he muttered. It's been legal for 3 years, I said calmly. Since June 2021, I've managed your finances, approved every distribution, and overseen all family businesses. Did you think your successes were just luck? My phone buzzed with an encrypted message from my wealth management team. I glanced at it, allowing a small smile. Speaking of which, I need to decide on next month's distribution schedule. I met each family member's eyes, their panic palpable. David, your $45,000 monthly allowance. Michelle, your $38,000. Mom and Dad, your joint $62,000. The figures hung like a guillotine. You're bluffing, Michelle said, her voice thin. I opened my trust management app, its interface displaying real-time balances. Shall I show you? I can approve or deny distributions with a biometric scan and password. Michelle's face drained of color. Wait, Dad said, standing abruptly, his chair scraping the floor. Even if this is true, we raised you. You owe us. Oh, you. I interrupted, my voice steady but firm. I've paid this house's mortgage for 3 years. Your cars, club memberships, vacation homes, your kids' tuition, all funded by my trust. Whitmore nodded. Records show $2.7 million in annual family support, approved by Sarah. Mom's jewelry seemed to weigh her down. But the businesses generate their own revenue, she said. They're held in trust, I finished. The restaurant chain, real estate firm, investment company, all report to me. Every major decision needs my signature. David's face turned gray. My deals, my partnerships, funded by trust loans I approved, I said. Your credit lines, your partnerships, all backed by my signature. The room spun with the weight of their shattered assumptions. This changes nothing, Dad said, clinging to authority. Family is family. I stood, closing my laptop. You're right. I wouldn't cut off family. I paused, watching their fleeting hope. But I might rethink those monthly amounts. $45,000 seems excessive for someone contributing nothing to the legacy. David's facade shattered. Sarah, we didn't know. We had no idea. You didn't ask, I said, picking up my bag. You assumed I was the failure, the burden. You never considered I was supporting you all. Michelle's hand shook as she clutched her wine glass. What now? What's your plan? Another knock interrupted. A sharp-looking woman in a tailored suit entered, carrying a tablet and thick folders. Miss Thompson, she said, I'm Patricia Chun from First National Trust Services. You requested an emergency account review for all family members. Perfect timing, Patricia, I said. Show them their account statuses. Patricia opened her tablet. Mr. David Thompson, your accounts show $847, but your monthly expenses average $12,400, fully trust funded. Your investments are held in Sarah's name, with her sole authority. She swiped. Miss Michelle Thompson, your accounts show $1,234 with $9,600 monthly expenses, trust supported. Your boutique's lease, inventory, and operations depend entirely on the trust. Michelle gripped her napkin, her manicure glinting. My boutique makes profits. Guaranteed by the trust, Patricia said. Without it, it collapses in 30 days. Dad's voice rose. I built this wealth. Your joint accounts show $2,156, Patricia continued. Your $18,900 monthly expenses, mortgage, memberships, cars, staff, are trust obligations approved monthly by Sarah. The room fell silent, save for the hum of the air conditioning and their heavy breathing. Now, I said, my voice calm, let's revisit that cutting off decision you made so confidently. David cracked. Sarah, we didn't understand. We'd never what? I asked. Never manipulate someone you thought was dependent? Never weaponize money against family? Michelle scrolled her banking app, horrified. My transactions need approval. Your credit card payments, I said, automatically approved monthly, unless I change that. You wouldn't, she whispered. I opened my trust app, its data glowing. Want to see how easy it is to adjust distributions? Mom's composure broke. Sarah, we're sorry. We made a terrible mistake. Sorry for trying to cut me off? I asked. Or sorry you were caught relying on someone you dismissed? Dad was sweating. What do you want? What you offered, I said, smiling. Independence. Self-reliance. Standing on your own. Patricia cleared her throat. Shall I implement the revised distribution schedule from our meeting? What schedule? David asked, panicked. Since you value accountability, I said, we'll introduce performance-based reviews. Monthly financial assessments, contribution evaluations, spending reports, and profitability requirements. That's reasonable, Mom said, grasping at hope.